Extreme Corner, and today we're going to talk about string bending. So this rock lead guitar lesson is going to be really important if you want to play that kind of style. So if you look in the description below, I got a link to a really cool PDF that you're going to want to have with you that's going to cover all these rock lead guitar skills that you'll need to be a better lead guitar player. So the first thing we're going to talk about with string bending is regarding the mechanics. 95% of it is going to be in the wrist. If you can think of a motion with the turning a doorknob, say for example, that motion in your wrist is what you're going to need to bend your strings all the way up. Now the other very, very crucial thing is to have your hand gripped behind the neck. And if you notice here, I've got it pretty tight to the back of the neck. So I'm kind of gripping it back there. You're going to need that for some leverage when you do the bending. Now the fingers themselves aren't going to be doing this. I've seen a lot of this where I see the fingers bending like this. It's not that that's not advised, it's just that it's not very practical to get the type of string bend that you're going to want to get. So I like to keep my fingers relatively together, not super tight, but they're close together. So whether I'm bending with my ring finger or my little finger, I got my fingers kind of bunched together to kind of support each other. The knuckles are pretty much static, but the fingers are very tight and they're pushing up, just like this. And if you can see the wrist, we're doing this kind of motion. All right, having the leverage on the back of that neck, and we bend the string. We just sort of twist that wrist just a little bit. You can see that right there. All right, so we want that little twist of the wrist as we're bending the string up and down, or down, down and up, like this way too. There's a couple different ways this can happen. So this is one of the main techniques that you're going to need to be aware of when you're trying to get your string bends. Now it's for 95%. There are exceptions where you're going to bend with your hand this way, but it's usually in a riff. It's not, you're going to bend the string and hold it. Just look like this. Where that type of riff, because I'm moving my other unused finger, like the little finger, to form the riff, I got to take my hand off the support system there behind that neck, and I want to bend it like this. So that's the exception rather than the rule. Most of the time, if you're just doing your classic, we're gripping that neck in the back, and we're twisting that wrist a little bit. So that's the first thing you want to work on, is making sure that you get that. And if you can get a real close look at the fingers here, I'm not pushing with the knuckles. Almost think about these three fingers, or if I'm doing the little finger, all four, as it's almost like one digit, right? They're all together and they're moving, but the end finger is the one taking most of the pressure. All right, it's really pushing that string up and pushing the string here. The other reason that I like doing it this way too, is opposed to this way, you don't want to put your fingers on the tips of your fingers on that string and push up, because it can tend to get underneath the string like that. You don't want that to happen. You want to more or less push that string up with like the bottom tips of your fingers right down here, and just push it straight up and then back, just like that. And that's how you want that to happen. Now the other thing that to be aware of now is that this is also going to require maybe just a touch of ear training, because you got to hear the note that you're bending to. Now here's a little technique that I have that I use. I'm going to just use this with my finger here on the 12th fret, and I'm going to bend it right here. This could be anywhere on the neck, but just so you get an idea, there's what we call a half step bend. So we're going to bend it to the note that's one fret above. Now if this is new to you, a good way to try and get used to this is press the main note, press the note you want to bend it to, which is a half step, one fret up, and you want to try and get it to sound the same. If it's not, alright, it's going to be a little bit out, whether it's sharp or flat. You'll be able to hear it. And if it's a little trouble at the beginning, just keep doing it for a while. You'll eventually get used to it. Because the thing about string bending is you got to know how much pressure to bend the string to reach that note. Sounds like it might be difficult, and it will be at the beginning, but once you get used to this thing, it's not that hard. And then same thing with the whole step bend. So I want to bend to this note. So what I usually will do is I'll press the original note, the note I want to bend to, which is 2 frets up, go back to this here, and try to match that. You can go back and forth. Now that was a little bit sharp, so I want to go. Alright, you can just bend to it, try and see if you can hear it. Alright, and you keep working that a lot. I mean, that's a really major part of your practice. If you're the twist and the leverage here, that's one part of the practice, and you need to get that, I think, first. Once you get somewhat comfortable with that, now try and see how you can bend to whatever that note is that you want to get to. Even if you want to go a step and a half up, you can do that too. Require a little bit more finger strength. And then the final thing when you're practicing on these string bends is, if you notice right here, I'm right here on the 12th fret, okay? You want to do it on the B string too, and a lot of times I might use the little finger, and you want to try and get your little finger strength too. Do the exact same thing. Everything's still applying. I'm twisting the wrist, grabbing the back of that neck. And you want to also try and match those notes and try to get that so that you can hear those notes really well. And then the final thing is, it's oftentimes easier right here in the middle of the neck to practice this, which is good. So you want to stay in the 10th, 12th fret, somewhere in this area right here. I like starting on the G string. That's usually a good string to start with, to try and, if you're very, very new to this. B string is also good too. You can use either the ring finger or the little finger. And you want to just practice that right here in this area. Now, it gets a little bit harder as the further down you go. So if you go way down here, let's say you're down here on the 3rd fret, it's going to require a little bit more finger strength to get that note to where you want it to go. So if you're really new to this, I would pretty much stay up here and then work your way down until you feel like you have the good finger strength, and then the same practice. Alright, you want to practice that down here, and the same thing with the little finger. Alright, and practice that down here, and then same thing goes way up here. You'll find that you may tend over here to push it too much, so you have to watch how hard you're pushing. Alright, so that is some quick tips on how to get the string bending working for you. Hey, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Hopefully this will make you become a better player. Alright, thanks a lot, and rock on.